Hey everybody, I'm Champ Stewart and I'm a senior marketing major and I will be doing the general overview of this project.
Hey everybody, I'm Sinclair Green, a senior economics major from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and I will be helping with how the Chiefs use data analytics for our project.
Hey everybody, I'm Matt Bagnato. I'm a junior finance major, and I will also be presenting on the middle section of how the Chiefs use data analytics in our project.
Hey everyone, my name is Cruz K. I'm a junior finance major. I'm from Santa Rosa, Florida, and I'll be finishing off how the Chiefs use data analytics.
Hey everyone, I'm Haley Meredith, a senior marketing major from Birmingham, Alabama, and I'm going to be talking about how the Chiefs have used analytics to improve with their sports and some recommendations for how they can improve in the future.
I'm Marshall Smith, and I will be finishing up the business recommendations, and I'm a senior entrepreneurship major with a sports marketing concentration.
So to start us off, I'll tell you guys a little bit about the Kansas City Chiefs. Our group wanted to explore the role data played in this team's success. We were aware that the Chiefs use player performance data to optimize their game. So we wanted to understand both this and their business stats. The Kansas City Chiefs are a professional American football team based in Kansas City, Missouri, and compete in the AFC West Division. The team was founded in 1960 as the Dallas Texans by businessman Lamar Hunt, who was a charter member of the American Football League. Lamar Hunt was an oil tycoon who at the time was 26 and wanted his own professional football team, so he founded the American Football League and served as president over the next 8 years. This move would end up changing the face of pro football forever. Hunt's team would be the Dallas Texans and be based in his hometown. And over his time as president of the team, he did a really good job of having an eye for talent and brought in immediately 5 future Hall of Famers. So the team was originally the Dallas Texans from 1960 to 1962. And under general manager Brett Veach, the team moved to Kansas City and changed their name to the Chiefs. Since 1963, the team has remained in Kansas City, and in 1972, Arrowhead was built. The stadium has been renovated multiple times to grow and adapt to the needs of players, coaches, and fans. The Chiefs today have made the playoffs the last 6 years and back-to-back Super Bowls in the last 2 years. They won the one in 2020 and lost this past year to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And they have a team full of stars and really great players. They have the best quarterback in the league right now and a lot of other guys that help support him and help him be as good as he is. And so looking forward, the Kansas City Chiefs are currently undergoing stadium renovations for 2019 and 2020. They have been in the last 2 years. And they recently signed their quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, to a $450 million contract through 2031. They also recently signed head coach Andy Reid through 2025. So the team has a lot to look forward to. They have a lot going for them, and I think that they'll be a really great team in the near future, like they have been in the last few years.
So Champ did a great job introducing us to the Chiefs and providing some information of why we chose them and how many amazing things they have going on. So we want to transition and start talking about how the Chiefs use data analytics. So this past year has been a very unprecedented year, and football is no exception. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there was tons of uncertainty surrounding this past NFL season. So in a normal season, typically the Chiefs utilize data analytics, and they have complicated algorithms that use Excel and other programming, and that assists them with their dynamic ticket pricing model, which is something that we've studied a lot this semester. A dynamic ticket pricing model essentially means that with each game, the model can adapt to the needs and wants and demands of the consumers. So the amount of tickets this past season dropped from 76,000 seats to 16,000 seats. And interestingly, the Chiefs used their original pricing algorithm, which did not account for the reduced amount of seats. So in some ways, this was great because the original fans who were very loyal and loved the Chiefs were able to afford those tickets. But in other ways, it was very detrimental because whenever tickets are priced too low, you have ticket scalpers and there's resale, and the secondary ticket market definitely increased due to this pricing algorithm. So moving on to the next slide, we're going to focus more on how analytics affect their player performance. So analytics are the new wave sweeping through the football landscape in the modern era. The Chiefs are among the top analytic leaders in the entire NFL, with the company of another couple of great teams, the Ravens and the Eagles. Each of them kind of put their own spin on data analytics, but these three teams are definitely the leaders. The Chiefs specifically have utilized data analytics to help identify their deficiencies and find other areas of the game where they can make up for these weaknesses. So, how the Kansas City Chiefs actually use data analytics. So many of us know that head coach Andy Reid isn't too keen on going for it on the fourth down, which some people say this may be Reid's greatest weakness as a play caller, but he's able to make up for this with his early down passing rate. So data analytics led the Chiefs to realize that in 2019, the Chiefs passed the ball on nearly 68% of their first and second down plays, which is a pretty notable statistic. So this helped the team compensate for not going for it on the fourth down. And that's just one of the many statistics that data analytics has brought forward and allows the Chiefs to do what they do. And we know from other football data analytics that if you have a great quarterback, you should be throwing the ball 65% of the time. And Patrick Mahomes definitely falls into the camp of being a great quarterback. So that's the model that the Chiefs try to follow. So more on how they use data. Analytics and the use of data to predict and evaluate talent is simply finding new ways to look at data and draw real-world conclusions from it. It's commonly thought that data analytics within football is a new phenomenon, but what Pollard explains is that roughly half of the NFL quietly uses data analytics of some kind, and the Kansas City Chiefs are one of the teams who use analytics as a tool in actually evaluating and improving the roster. And Mike Frazier, who's the Chief Statistical Analysis Coordinator, has been very instrumental to the Chiefs increasing the amount of data they use and how they use data. And he came to the Chiefs with the Andy Reid, John Dorsey regime. So one young man that our group found particularly interesting is Armand Alajuela, and he's the Chiefs manager of data analytics. And we found an interview of him from the Sports Business Life podcast. And he's a really good role model for us because he's just a few years older than us, and he's in a position that a lot of us would like to one day see ourselves in. So just we're going to talk a little about Armand's job and his role with the Chiefs. So Armand's job changes from day to day. In his interview, he said some days he's making Excel spreadsheets and other days he's handing tickets out to the top donors and sponsors of the Chiefs. So he also said that his job is very different in and out of season. In season, he has to focus on data analysis and ticketing from week to week. But in out of season, he's able to use data to help find like new vendors for the upcoming season and try and analyze what the most cost-efficient way is to go about buying everything that the Chiefs need to have a football game. So Armand must find out what worked for the past season, what has newly been created, and how to optimize the Chiefs' resources. He finds new assets and opportunities to help the Chiefs for the upcoming year. Armand stated that the Chiefs' business analytics has evolved greatly in the past 3 to 4 years. A few years ago, Armand felt like sports teams are mom and pop shops that were worth $1 billion, which this is not a good way to be. We definitely want to use data to improve our decision making and optimize our budgets. In the next 5 to 10 years, Armand expects sports teams to truly have a data explosion and catch up to the other major corporations that use data so well. Right now, the Chiefs have a data team of 5 to 10 people, but in 10 years, it's predicted that each professional sports team will have departments of 30 to 50 people, which is a great opportunity for all of us to know about because that means jobs for us, which is awesome. So this increased team, the increased number of people will focus on using data to enhance fan experience and improve targeted marketing.
So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the social media side of the business. So in recent years, social media has grown exponentially throughout the NFL. And the goal for the Chiefs and any NFL team in general is to capture that marginal fan, make them into an avid fan, fans that have not necessarily even been to a game. So social media is the best way for these people to connect because some of them may not even be in the Kansas City market. Just for example, I follow the Montgomery Biscuits on Instagram, but I haven't been to a game in over 5 years and wouldn't consider myself an avid fan. However, with the right marketing and certain fan experience they're offering, I'll possibly consider going to another game. So another advantage of social media is that it gives insights into segments of fans. For example, the software Affinio, which I'm currently using for Dr. Easton's class for the Saints, is a great way to analyze and gain insights into these followers. And by targeting these specific fans, the ability to drive engagement and build brand loyalty will garner a rise in sponsorship opportunities and future ticket sales for the team. Here, I start off with a quote from chapter 6 of our book that focuses on consumer lifetime value. It says, from a consumer behavior standpoint, winning is likely the main driver of fan interest. This is clearly seen through how the Chiefs have doubled their Instagram followers over the past year. 2 Super Bowl appearances, that'll do it for you. Another way we see this is by looking at who is number 1. 9 AFC championships, 6 Super Bowl wins since the turn of the century will get you to the number 1 spot in the New England Patriots. It all goes back to winning. As we can see in this chart right here, as of November 2019, the Chiefs had 1 million followers on Instagram, and currently they have over 2 million followers. Yes, there are special cases like the Cowboys of the world, who for some reason have a massive fan base, even though they haven't won the divisional playoff game since going on to win the Super Bowl in 1996. But most of the time, winning is what matters. This chart displays the Chiefs' Facebook and Twitter following since 2012. The blue is Facebook fans and the dark gray is Twitter followers. Since the end of 2015, we can see the Chiefs have doubled their overall following between both platforms. Facebook, which is some see as a declining platform, has seen roughly a 38% increase, while Twitter has seen a 400% increase in this time. This further solidifies the point that winning is the main driver of fan interest.
Thank you, Marshall, for that great information on social media. And the Chiefs' big market, obviously, is their fandom. And in recent years, with winning Super Bowls and winning tons of games, it's safe to say that there's no shortage of Chiefs fans, especially in the Kansas City area. So how does Kansas City kind of create their fan base? Well, Kansas City is a sports city, has been historically notorious for having an incredible fan base, especially the football fans go all out for their Chiefs on game day. And a former Navy SEAL jump team member, Mike Day, on the Mic Drop podcast actually said how amazing it was to always parachute into Arrowhead Stadium before games and to get the crowd pumped up. He said he could see entire streets in Kansas City and the surrounding area completely shut down for tailgates and other fan created activities. So this kind of transitions well into the first point I'd like to make on how the Chiefs create their fan base. The Chiefs have been heavily involved in fan experience, even in the mid-2000s, whenever Mike Day would make his jumps into the stadium before kickoff. And at the very basic level of analytics, at the time, the Chiefs realized that many people willing to watch a football game in Kansas City were supportive of the U.S. military, and things like jet flyovers and parachute jumps before the games would attract and retain a significant amount of fans. So going along with that previous point, the Chiefs are their own brand, which means they kind of get to control, so to speak, how their brand is viewed. And of course, sometimes opinions differ, but for the most part, they can control how their fans see them. So the decisions made by the marketing department involve various pre-game or mid-game entertainment can really show their worth on game day in terms of ticket sales and fan involvement. So this brings me to my next point, some tangible evidence on how the Chiefs use analytics more on the business side of their operations can be found in a great article from the Arrowhead Addict. This article reports that the Chiefs had a 95% renewal rate for season ticket holders in the previous year. Obviously, with the COVID year, so it'd be 2 years ago, I guess. The COVID year kind of screwed things up there. But for season tickets, that's a very impressive number and something that the organization is very proud of, which they can accredit mainly to their marketing department and how they've used analytics to attract fans on a day-to-day basis and lifelong fans at that. So how did they do it? The Chiefs' business analytics approach can be very interesting and less math and equations than you may think. But the Chiefs have observed that their ticket sales skyrocket when they acquire household name talent like Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And they generally use a significant amount of cap space for their roster. And not really a surprise there, but it is fairly simple to analyze trends in fan data when the team is winning and capitalize on that. So ultimately, they use this information in the front office where they sign high-value players, and that's not only beneficial to the performance of the team, but also very beneficial to the revenue of the organization as a whole. And in the end, the goal of the marketing department for the Chiefs is to make tickets seem hard to get rather than the fans being hard to find. So that brings me to my next slide on the fan experience. So now that the fans are in the stadium, so to speak, the Chiefs focus on optimizing the fan experience for their loyal fans. So their website, chiefs.com, it would be /stadium/fan experience, has all the information and resources a fan could need to navigate game day. They have maps for parking, tailgating, information on seating upgrades if you want to upgrade your seat that day, and of course the promotion of their pro shop and gift shop and all those sorts of things. And all these online resources are constantly tracked by the Chiefs analytics department to determine things like how many people clicked on what resource on game days versus not game days versus what people are clicking on from their phones or a computer or if they're on the Chiefs Wi-Fi or not, in order to make adjustments in order to optimize revenue and overall interest in the team. And that brings me to my next slide of just one last thing I'd like to mention that I kind of briefly made a point on a few slides ago is the operations of the front office and how that can relate to the business side of marketing and analyzing that data. Obviously, the Chiefs as an organization want to sign players like Patrick Mahomes on massive contracts because he's an incredible player and will win you games. But there's a little more to the story sometimes in relation to the marketing and finance department. So the marketing department of the organization also wants the front office to make those deals as much as they can because the marketing and revenue potential that just comes from the names of Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce coming to your team, that potential can be enormous for the marketing and finance department. And these deals are ultimately pulled off so to speak, as a joint effort between the marketing department and the front office. And for obvious reasons, Andy Reid wants his guy so he can win games, but the sales directors want the same guy so they can cash in every time he steps on the field. So yeah.
Another important way the Chiefs use analytics is by using data to make difficult play calls. The Chiefs use an in-house analytical models to aid in the game time decisions. We weren't able to find the exact details of the models. We tried to contact the Chiefs, but they are similar to the EDJ Sports models. On the EDJ Sports website, it says that it models the win probability for teams based on the decisions they make based on historical play-by-play data, and adjusts it for variables like the strengths and weaknesses of both teams from Football Outsiders, injuries, and other factors. The key is for coaches to make key decisions that will increase their win probability and stay away from those decisions that will decrease their win probability. So one of the best play calls of the NFL postseason last year came when the Chiefs were playing the Cleveland Browns. You can go to the next slide. This was during the playoffs, AFC divisional playoff game, with the game on the line, 22-17. Chiefs are up with 1:30 to go. Their star quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, was injured earlier in the game, so he was out, and backup Chad Henne was now in at quarterback. So on 4th down, the Chiefs went for it. They rolled out to the right, threw to Tyreek Hill, and got the first down and secured the victory. Now, this was a gutsy play call by Andy Reid. No one expected the Chiefs to go for it. The Browns were shocked. Baker Mayfield there, you can see the shock on his face. Even the commentators, Tony Romo was commentating the game, said that there was no way the Chiefs were going to go for it here. And they shocked the world by going for it and won the game. That play call increased the Chiefs' win probability by 6.5%. Could you go back one slide, please? Thank you. Like the example just shown, the analytical models have been telling coaches to go for it on 4th down. In essence, when you punt the ball, you're voluntarily giving the ball over. So you're basically trading the ball for field position. So the data can determine if the field position is worth giving up the ball for. If the field position is not losing control of the ball, the data models will tell you to go for it. And if the field position is worth giving up the ball, the data models will tell you to punt it. So this is the reason why many teams nowadays are going for it on 4th down, is because the models are telling them to go for it because it's going to increase their win probability. So even though Sinclair talked about this earlier, that Andy Reid might not like to go for it on 4th down a lot, he picks the time to go for it on 4th down very wisely, and is why he's making these key decisions all year. This graph here shows that Reid was ranked 2nd in best decision-making calls last season, according to the analytics of EDJ Sports, which just goes to show how well the analytical models, how well they're using the analytical models, and the Chiefs are following them. The best decision last year came against the Chargers on another 4th down play at their own 46-yard line, and it increased the Chiefs' odds by winning by 20.4%. So another way that the Chiefs are using analytics is through ticket pricing. Prices have soared since Mahomes took over the reins in 2018. The Chiefs drafted Mahomes in 2017, but he didn't take over the starting role until 2018. Since then, tickets have increased from $74 in 2018 to $95 in 2020. And this is fundamental supply and demand economics. So besides the fact that COVID disrupted the ticket seats this year, ticket seats have remained the same. I mean, the supply has remained the same, but demand is changing. And so when demand is going up and supply remains the same, you can charge more for a ticket. So we've talked about why demand is going up. They have Mahomes, a new quarterback. They have star players on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And the number one reason why demand is going up, which everyone has talked to multiple times, is that the Chiefs are winning. So that means the Chiefs can charge extra for their tickets. Now, the people or Chiefs fans have become mad, and I've read articles where they're mad at the ticket hikes, but the Chiefs must contend with a secondary ticket market, so they need to raise these ticket prices. The Chiefs president said, "We're pretty good from a data standpoint and an algorithm standpoint, and our team of understanding what the ticket is really worth and being below that number. Still, however, if tickets are too low, people will arbitrage these tickets, which means that they will buy a bulk load of tickets from the Chiefs website and then immediately turn around and sell those tickets for a giant profit on the secondary ticket market. So the Chiefs need to match the secondary ticket market so that, one, that they aren't losing giant profits to these arbitrageurs, and two, that they aren't losing tons of data. We've also talked about in class that data is exchanged through every transaction, but if people are using the secondary ticket market, they aren't going through the Chiefs to get those tickets, so the Chiefs are missing out on all this valuable information. Thus, there's another point that data plays a key role in determining ticket prices. So finally, on the business side of things, the Chiefs use analytics for their finances. The Chiefs actually partnered with a software company in 2021 of this year called Vina. And COVID disrupted many of the traditional revenue streams, which is why the Chiefs had to partner with this analytics company. The traditional revenue streams like ticket sales and concessions, where they make a lot of money, have become disrupted because of COVID. People have not been able to go to games, and so they're not buying tickets and they're not buying concessions. So Vina provides the Chiefs with revenue planning, player salary planning, box office reporting, executive reporting, and sales and compensation sponsorship. What's really cool about Vina is that they can take a normal report that the Chiefs make in around 3 hours and reduce that report to 5 minutes. These Vina reports are easy to read, and they adjust in real time as the data comes in. So this creates transparency, as anyone can understand their easy to read graphs and charts. And it also shows in real time what's happening to their finances and where the money is going.
So I'm going to be talking about how the Kansas City Chiefs have benefited from analytics when it comes to sports, as well as some recommendations on how they can further use analytics to improve their performance on the sports side. So one of the main ways that the Chiefs have benefited from analytics sports-wise is that they have learned the importance of pass plays. Pass plays have proven to be way more efficient than any rushing play could be. In the 2020 Super Bowl, the Chiefs were down 10 points to the San Francisco 49ers. Out of the next 29 plays that followed, 26 of those plays were pass plays and only 3 of them were rushing plays. The Chiefs gained an average of 6.85 yards per pass play, and they only gained an average of 2.33 yards per rushing play. Based on these numbers, you can see just how much more efficient a pass play is than a rushing play. So these two charts show the passing rates for the NFL teams both in the 2016 and 2020 seasons. In the chart on the left, you can see the Chiefs were ranked 29th for the pass rate in the 2016 season. Their pass rate was 59%, and they had 612 pass attempts in the 2016 season. With these 612 attempts, they had a 46% success rate and gained an average of 7.1 yards per pass. The 2016 season had the Baltimore Ravens ranked first with 66% for their pass rate. They had 712 attempts with a 43% success rate and an average of 6.4 yards gained per play. The chart on the right shows the same information, but for the 2020 season. The Chiefs were ranked 5th in the NFL for the pass rate, and in the 2020 season, they had a 62% pass rate and made 783 pass attempts. They had a 53% success rate and gained an average of 7.8 yards per play. The 2020 season had the Jacksonville Jaguars ranked first with a 66% for the pass rate. The Jaguars had 660 pass attempts with a 45% pass success rate and an average yardage gain of 6.4 yards per play. So the first sports recommendation that we have for the Chiefs is to use analytics to improve their fourth down conversion percentages. We talked a little bit about this earlier in the important game of the Chiefs versus the Browns, but the Chiefs were ranked second in the NFL for fourth down conversions in 2015. Just 5 years later, the Chiefs are down to number 12 in the NFL for fourth down conversions. Fourth down conversions have proven to be very useful in the past, not only in the NFL as a whole, but in particular for the Chiefs. A successful fourth down conversion helped to send the Chiefs to the AFC Championship this year and eventually onto the Super Bowl in that game versus the Browns, which we showed a video of earlier. So these two charts show the NFL ranking for fourth down conversions in 2015 and 2020. In 2015, the Chiefs were ranked second in the NFL for fourth down conversions. Their percentage was 63.64% that year, and they were up 21.97% from the year prior. They were ranked right behind the Seattle Seahawks, who had a fourth down conversion percentage of 64.29%. In the 2020 season, the Chiefs were down to number 12 in the NFL for fourth down conversions. Their percentage that year was 59.09%, and it was down 5.2% from the year prior. The Buffalo Bills were ranked first in the 2020 season with an 83.33% fourth down conversion rate. So a second sports recommendations that we have for the Chiefs is to continue to use analytics to improve their draft picks. The analytics community normally advises against signing running backs to big contracts because they don't add as much value as some other positions. Some of the reasons that running backs are not considered as valuable are because running the ball is not as effective as passing the ball, and teams are running the ball less. Running backs normally do not have a very long career, and they get injured pretty frequently. And finally, a running back requires other high-functioning players on the team to be able to create value for the team. Andy Reid has never drafted a running back higher than 53rd overall in his entire career, or 86th overall with the Chiefs until last year. The Chiefs drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 32nd overall on April 23rd, 2020. Clyde is a running back and was seen as a bad value for the Chiefs. So with this being said, I think that the Chiefs could really utilize analytics to make those decisions on who they should be drafted.
We also have a few business recommendations as well. The first is to constantly evolve and innovate with the Chiefs organization. By doing this, it will keep the Chiefs at the forefront of analytics in an increasingly data-driven league. Mr. Armand mentioned he believed that companies' analytics departments will possibly grow 5 to 10 times in the next 10 years. And by investing in new talent, such as people that come through the Center for Sports Analytics, fresh ideas and different skill sets will come into the organizations, and it can help the Chiefs innovate now instead of waiting to catch up with everybody else. And they can be ahead of the curve and continue their success on and off the field. So another business recommendation we have is to continue to innovate on game day experiences for fans. Focusing on experiences is how brand loyalty is built the quickest. The Chiefs have done a good job on this, but we feel like they could increase their focus in this area. Chiefs fans are some of the most loyal in the world, and by far the loudest fans in the NFL, literally, by having the Guinness World Record for loudest roar in a sports stadium at 142 decibels. The passion for the team needs to continually be capitalized on through experiences and not necessarily the product on the field. It's all about experiences. And this is what keeps fans coming back for more each season. We also recommend that the Chiefs align with certain secondary market vendors or try to protect themselves and have creative ideas and good marketing so that fans will buy from their website only. By protecting revenues on these ticket sales, the Chiefs will be able to keep top-line revenues that won't be lost to these secondary ticket markets. So as far as the social side of the company, the Chiefs have definitely capitalized on the success of the team in the past few years, but they're still nowhere near the top of the NFL on social media. The Chiefs still have less than half the Instagram followers of the highest team in the NFL as in the Patriots, and currently ranked 9th on the platform. Twitter, which was shown as the most sports-friendly platform as far as highlights and long-form videos go, is a place where the brand can grow. The Chiefs are sitting in the middle of the pack at 15th, and for reference, have well over 500,000 followers less than the Falcons. No offense to the Falcons, but the Chiefs should definitely realize there's work to be done. The Chiefs should capitalize on these marginal fans that wouldn't necessarily be coming to the games and build brand loyalty with these followers through great social media initiatives. Once these marginal fans are converted into avid fans, sponsorship opportunities will increase due to higher engagement. The key, as is to any team, is knowing your fan base and segmenting accordingly by looking at the data. Once this is done, the Chiefs will have the ability to cater specifically to that fan and increase revenue in a number of ways. Thank you. And here's our references.